Oh yeah, today we're going to be taking a look at this Aromamizer Supreme. And this Supreme RDTA is basically an updated version of the regular RDTA. This sucker holds 7 mils of juice versus the RDTA that holds 6 mils of juice. Actually, with this one, it holds a comfortable 6.5 mils of juice. I could fit 7 mils, but it's almost overflowing. Like I said, comfortably 6.5 mils of juice for this sucker. And that, boys and girls, is a lot of juice. Another cool updated spec that this Supreme has that the old RDTA did not have is the juice flow control. Oh my gosh. It's got adjustable juice flow control on each side, okay? And you got 2 pins. And you'll see this in close-ups, but how it works is the 2 pins sit in between the top plate and then the top of the chamber. It clicks into place. You got a chart on each side and a dot, and you can adjust it 6 different ways. All these tanks nowadays, they have juice flow control, but this is a little bit different because it's just got its own little spin. And I like that. When manufacturers put their own spin on things, that's how things evolve, okay? That's how things get better. It's really cool because you can look down and you can see as you're adjusting the juice flow control, it's closing off, it's closing off. Oh, yep, it's closed all the way. And then you open it up and open it up. It's really cool. I like it. This also has top fill just like majority of the other tanks out there, but it does not have adjustable airflow up top. And that's another thing, you know, it may be a little gripe to you guys, but it's got dual adjustable airflow at the base, plenty of it. The deck, that Velocity style deck, you got plenty of room to build on, 16.5 millimeter. With all these Velocity style deck devices, it's just so much more efficient to install your build. It's just so much easier. You can pop a vertical build in here, you can pop a horizontal build in here. I also really like how you can pull the deck out of this sucker. You can pop it on your mod, you can do your builds, pop your cotton in there, pulse it, whatever you want to do, and then pop it back in your tank. Horizontal build for this type of device, and even in the old RDTA, I wasn't a big fan of it, okay? I'm a big fan of vertical builds for this. Now the flavor is kick-ass. How does it compare to the Griffin 25? To me, I think the Griffin's got this thing beat just by a little bit. This sucker's got an extra Pyrex tank, so if you break one or lose one, you got another one to go to. Oh yeah. I also like the fact that I can use my other standard 510 drip tips with this. So far, I've seen this Aromamizer Supreme come in 2 different color options, black as you guys can see, or stainless steel. As far as machine oil for this didn't have any machine oil. 1 rinse, 1 wash, I was good to go. No burrs, no scratches. And last but not least for the pros, this sucker is fit on all my devices, screwed down, made a connection, sat flush. Now here's the cons. The only cons that I found: 1, price point. I don't think this thing is worth the price point. It's just my opinion. 57 bucks for this. I would not pay 57 bucks for this. Not when I can go out and pay freaking 35 to 45 bucks for this Geek Vape Griffin 25. Now another little bitty nitpicky con is for this black version. I got 2 versions. I got the stainless steel and this black version. This black version, it fits on everything, screws down, makes a connection, sits flush, but it wobbles a little bit, okay? It's not bad, it's just noticeably it wobbles, and I could hear it. Hear that? Now the stainless steel, I have no issues. It doesn't wobble at all, but it does for this black one, and I just got to point that out. Another nitpicky con I got to point out is this thing spits back a little bit. Not so much on the horizontal builds, but for the vertical builds, I notice it, okay? Also, if I open up the juice flow control and it wide open from the get-go, it's going to spit back because it's feeding more juice. What I do, the way I do it is I just close it off to about 1 or 2, maybe 3. Vape on it, vape on it, vape on it. If it's still spitting back a little bit, then I close it off more, and eventually that vaporizes all that juice off, and it gets back to an even airflow, non-spit back type of vape. So the build I have in the Supreme is a 0.2 ohm dual vertical macro build. I'm vaping at 45 watts. Got her sitting on this Panzer 200 watt. Got the airflow wide open all across the board of the base. Here we go. So that right there, boys and girls, are the pros and the cons that I found for this Aromamizer Supreme RDTA. I think it's about that time we dive down. I'll show you this thing up close and personal. We'll come back. I'll let you know if I lost this thing today when I go out tomorrow and buy one, and then we'll wrap this sucker up. Alrighty, boys and girls, so here's the packaging for this Aromamizer Supreme RDTA. Actually, you got 2 different versions. On the left is this mini, and then on the right is the regular Supreme. Each one comes in 2 different color options, either stainless steel or black. And the mini, this mini right here on the left, holds 4 mils of juice, and then the regular Supreme holds 7 mils of juice. On the front, you got a magnetic flap, opens up, and then inside you got the mini, and then you got a baggie of extra goodies and an extra glass tank. Now here's the thing, the glass tank that came with the mini that I have, it does not match. This is actually for the 7 mil tank, the regular Supreme. You messed up there, Steam Crave, and I don't know, maybe just with mine, and some of you guys may have this out there and be like, well, mine's matchy, and that's good, but mine's not. And here's the baggie of extra goodies. They include a buku of O-rings, some extra screws, and some extra pins for the juice flow control. And you also receive an Allen key tool. And at the base of that box, they include a Steam Crave sticker along with a user manual on how to use this tank. And here's the packaging for the regular Supreme tank, the 7 mil tank, exactly the same as the 4 mil tank, the mini. Also has the magnetic flap on the front. Open that sucker up. Here it is, the Supreme. You got a baggie of extra goodies, some extra screws, some extra O-rings, some extra pins, and you also receive an extra tank. And with this one, the extra Pyrex or glass tank that I received actually matches this. Oh yeah, and at the base of this box, you receive a user manual and a Steam Crave sticker as well. So here's an up-close look at both the tanks, the regular Supreme and the Supreme Mini. Now they're basically the same design, exact same design, except the shaft on this is larger and the tank on this is larger because it holds 7 mils. The shaft on this and the tank is smaller because this thing holds 4 mils. The regular Supreme that holds 7 mils of juice is 25 millimeters in width and 63 millimeters in height with the Delaware drip tip. The Mini is also 25 millimeters in width, but it's 10 millimeters shorter than the regular Supreme. It's 53 millimeters in height with this Delaware drip tip. So 53 millimeters versus 63 millimeters. The Supreme Mini and the Supreme are both made of 304 grade stainless steel. One has a black finish and one does not. At the base of the regular Supreme, it says designed by BJ, and then the serial number mine is 3402, and then you got a silver plated 510 pin, which is adjustable. Nice smooth 510 threads. And then on the Mini, it's the exact same, designed by BJ, and then your serial number. On this one, it's 1576. Still, you have a silver plated 510 pin, which is also adjustable. Nice smooth 510 threads as well. So I'm not going to take this one apart because I have juice in there, I've got my build in there, but I am going to take the build deck out just to show you how easy it is, because it is, I mean, it's super easy. Here we go. You get your bottom cap, and all you do is you unscrew it. And the bottom cap holds the deck in place. It's got a seal. It's got a little O-ring down here which seals in the juice. And before you do this, you want to make sure that the juice flow control is completely closed off, which mine is, and the airflow control is completely closed off, which mine is. Pop that sucker out. It's easy peasy, man. Just a standard vertical macro build, which I already mentioned, which is kick-ass. And also, I gotta say, this deck is quite a bit larger than the regular Aromamizer. But yeah, I got 2 vertical builds in there, and I've got a video that shows how to build vertical builds in your Aromamizer. It's the same. It's the same exact concept for this one as it is for the regular Aromamizer. Go check it out. Link is in the description. You can pop in Clapton builds, Fuse Clapton staple builds, and I prefer vertical builds for this because you got more room. You can do horizontal, especially since they expanded the deck. 16.5 millimeter, by the way, just like I mentioned in FaceTime, but I think this thing's made for vertical builds. So just like any other tank out there, you got juice in that tank, and down below, okay, this is going to be a little bit different feature. You got your juice flow control, and you see these lines? That's a little chart, and right now it's closed off all the way, hence we got it, we got the base pulled out, but yeah, look at that, it's closed off, juice is not coming out, it's not leaking at all. But how it works is the juice sits up top. Once you open up that juice flow control, that juice feeds around the side and down below this deck. See that? You got holes in there. It feeds down below in the deck up to the wick and then to the coil. See those holes? 2 on one side, 2 on the other. So once you have your deck section all built up, you insert that sucker into the base of the tank. Make sure you line up the grooves. Well, once you get it in there, you can line it up. Boom, it pops into place. And here's the inside of the base cap. Here's the outside of the base cap. But on the inside of the base cap, you got an O-ring, and that seals in all the juice. Pop that on there. Make sure she's tight. And like I said, I got the juice flow control closed off. I got the airflow closed off. And this is how to fill it. It's top fill. I could take this off right here without worrying about this sucker leaking, and I could fill her up. 2 giant slots. In the middle, there's your shaft. There's the inside of the top cap. You got your Delaware drip tip. Once you're done filling this sucker up, pop the top cap on there. Next step, open up the juice flow control, and you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different settings. Right now, that line on the all the way to the left, that means it's closed off. The dot's lined up with the line. Boom, there's 1 line, 2 lines, 3 lines, and you see the bubbles. It's feeding, it's feeding, it's feeding, it's feeding. 4, 5, wide open. I like to keep it a little bit more closed off, about 2 or 3. And underneath the juice flow control ring, you got your dual adjustable airflow ring. 1 slot on one side, okay, and it starts fat and it gets thinner and thinner and thinner, and then it's on both sides, fat, thinner, thinner, and thinner, and you just adjust it. Opener, closer, whatever's on this side is gonna be the exact same on this side, or I can close her off on the thin side. It's just a different type of airflow. Close her off a little bit more, and whatever I have on this side is going to be the same on this side. Here's your Delaware drip tip. And I don't know if you guys can see that, but it kind of funnels down. It starts off wide and it funnels down. Drip tip catch cup. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys the mini version, the stainless steel version, because 1, it's dry, there's no juice in there. 2, there's no build in there. I could take everything apart, show you all the parts, because it's the exact same design as this Supreme, this regular Supreme. The only thing that differentiates this from that is this is larger. It's got a larger tank and it's got a longer shaft. We're going to go ahead and take this thing apart. So here's the tank section, the glass tank section. Top fill, top cap / shaft section. And on both tanks it says Aromamizer Supreme RDTA. Again, here's the bottom cap, and that comes out, unscrews, and all you gotta do is pull the deck out. And that's what I love about this thing. You can pull this sucker out while this thing is filled up. Change the cotton, change the coil, pop it back in there, and you're rocking. So yeah, here's the Velocity style deck section. Positive post, negative post. Negative post is milled into the deck. Positive post, you got that peak insulator down there. You got the 2 holes on each side like I showed you guys before. Side mount hex screws. And like I said before, how it works is the juice feeds underneath the deck to the wick and then to the coil. And the 510 connection is attached to this deck, as you guys saw. So I want to get to another really cool feature to this, besides the deck section, how it pulls out, all that good stuff. That's a really cool, innovative feature. This is cool too, the juice flow control. And as you guys can see, it's completely open. You got 2 pins, one on one side, one on the other. Okay, see that? That's the top of it. It feeds down inside there, around the chamber, underneath the chamber, and you got these 2 pins. And that holds it into place and allows this thing to spin and close and shut and adjust it. See, I'm closing it off, I'm closing it off, I'm closing it off, I'm closing it off. Boom. She's completely closed off, and if you look at the chart, you can see that it's closed off. And like I said, you got those pins in there which allows that. It's engineered that way. It keeps everything together. So you got a top plate, this plate right here, and that comes off. And watch this, you got 2 holes for the pins, that slides off, and then you got a plate underneath that. So I went and got me some pliers, I'm gonna pull one pin out, just like that, pull the other one out, and you got the bottom plate, and that pulls out like so. So you got the top plate, the bottom plate, and then the top of the chamber. Again, here's the top plate, middle plate, and then you got the top of the chamber section. And here's your adjustable airflow, and that ring comes off like so, and you got 1 slot on one side, 1 slot on the other. And then inside here, just like the Aromamizer, that's where your deck goes. And you got these slots right here that are parallel. The juice feeds down through those slots underneath the deck to the wick and to the coil. And then you got these slots over here, and that's the airflow slots. Hop on the middle ring, turn it, make sure you line up the holes on each end. Pop 1 pin in, pop the other pin in. Next thing, the top plate fits over that. Line up the holes with the pins and the slots of the slots. And you can close off that juice flow control, or you can open her up. Pop the tank on there, the glass tank. Shaft section / second top cap screws into the chamber section. Make sure she's nice and tight. So that right there, boys and girls, is an up-close view of this Aromamizer Supreme RDTA and the Aromamizer Supreme RDTA Mini. Let's go ahead and take her back to FaceTime. Now on to the big question, the big answer today. Hey Rip, if you lost this thing today, would you go out tomorrow and buy one? And the answer is nope. They need to drop it 15 bucks. 15 bucks at least. And I tell you what, what's the point going to buy this for 57 bucks or 55 bucks when I can go buy this for 40 bucks? This Griffin 25. What's the point? This is Rip Trippers, and remember, smoking is dead, vaping is the future, and the future is now.